We have spoken about optional criteria 1 and 2 and mandatory requirement for the UK Global Talent Visa. Today we're going to talk about the optional criteria 3. Because as you already know, we have mandatory criteria, we have optional 1, optional 2, optional 3, and optional 4. So we've covered mandatory, optional 1, and optional 2. Today we are going to talk about optional 4 criteria. And in that case, welcome. In case you don't know, my name is Gabriel Olatunji Legend. I am popularly called Mr. Legend. On this channel, I share content that help you become global leader and global influencer, such that you can now attract global talent visa or any other global opportunity in the world. So, in case you don't know, this channel, even though I talk a lot about UK Global Talent Visa because I got it, I've helped a number of people get it. The goal is not about global talent visa. The goal is about you becoming a global leader and a global influencer, being deliberate about building your personal brand online, being deliberate about contributing to the digital technology sector, and documenting your journey as you do so. Thereby, you are now able to build a certain level of influence that allow you to become recognized and then attract global opportunity. So every time I talk about global talent visa, guys, don't get carried away. Focus on the substance. Okay, even if I'm not interested in global talent visa, what can I take from this thing and replicate in my work, in my life every day that will help me achieve or attract global talent visa? Without further ado, let's go straight into the conversation for today. I'm going to be using my notes, which is about here global talent visa optional criteria 3. Good. Now, very first thing I want to say to many people is that uh, most people fail to simply understand that in optional criteria 3, there's a mention of two things: innovation and impact. And there's a difference between innovation and there's a difference between impact. However, if you have taken my one-on-one consultation class or my course, get the UK Global Talent Visa course, currently going at a 30 pounds discount. If you have taken that course, you will know I explained there that is it possible to innovate in tech and not make impact? Or is it possible for you to achieve impact in tech not without innovation? It's very difficult to prove. And this is the difference between optional criteria 1 and optional criteria 3. In optional criteria 3, you are not focusing on innovation, you are focusing on impact. You're not focusing on innovation, you are focusing on what? Impact. So optional criteria 3 is not about how creative your work is, it's about how tangible the result you created in a product-led digital technology company. So how tangible can we touch, feel your product? In 1, you're focusing a lot about innovation. In 3, you are focusing on impact. Now, let me quickly say what optional criteria 3 really means, which is 1, it is you showing technical, commercial, or entrepreneurial contribution. What are the technical contributions that you have made? What are the entrepreneurial contributions that you have made, or commercial contributions that you have made? That's what optional 3 is going to be, or it's about, if you are putting that evidence together, if you are using that, for example. Then also, it must be your personal work and not your teamwork. This is the challenge many people have, or many people do. I've made a mistake before in the past, or in some cases too. Maybe someone doesn't really have any evidence. The only option you can do is just try to put their teamwork there and hope that the assessor will just go for it. And in some cases, it has not worked. So one thing that you have to be very deliberate about is you are not putting, oh, this is my teamwork. No, like this is what my company has achieved. Yeah, but that's not the goal. It's not your company that is applying. You are the one applying. So you that has applied, what is your own personal work or contribution, not what the team did? Then it's also important that the third part of what optional 3 criteria really mean is that it must also be measurable, traceable, and it must be documentable, or you must have documented it. So the result or the impact of the work that you say you have done, have you measured? Is it measurable? Is it traceable? Did you document it that they can find proofs that you actually did those things? And I think this is important to understand, that who are the people that can use optional criteria 3. If you are a founder, you are a senior executive, you are an engineer, you are a product manager, you are a sales leader, you are a growth lead, you can use optional criteria 3. Now, it's important for me to quickly say this. Optional criteria 3 is divided, they did something good. They divided for you in two parts. There's technical and then there is business applicants in optional criteria 3. And this is very important. So you must identify either as a business applicant or as a technical applicant if you are using optional criteria 3. Now, and in this division, technical applicant is you who, of course, you write code, you manage developers, you build architecture, you ship features and all of that. That's technical applicant. Any work that revolves around a bit of technicality, coding and the likes, technical applicant. Now, business applicant is you who you influence product strategy. You are involved in the commercial growth of your organization, or your work is involved in that, or help them to achieve that. Monetization of your product, how you got monetized, how people started paying for it, you were involved in that process, or you helped in that process. Customer success, go to market strategy, or go to market document, sales, fundraising, you were part of sales, fundraising, go to market, and all of that. That's why people were asking that, okay, they did not mention digital marketing in the technician applicants. Can I apply as a digital marketer? Are you not part of those that the price of go to market for the product? It doesn't have to be spelled out that way. You are part of that. So yes, you can apply as that. All right, now let's go on. Now, it's important to know that you have to show evidence based on your own particular field or lane or role in that work. So you have to show that. So let's move quickly to what now counts as evidence, or as let me say, what counts as significant contribution. So if you say that you must have made significant contribution personal work, what counts as that? And a few of them, those things is that if you have led, for technical people now, let's start with the technical guys. If you have led like development of high impact product or feature, you will lead the development of a particular product or feature that is highly impactful, then yes, that is one evidence that you can use under optional 3 criteria. You remember, I want to say, remember that, I don't know if I mentioned it. Okay, in mandatory, where I was talking about leading product, why I don't recommend people using it under mandatory because it conflicts with one of the optional criteria and all of that. This is what I mean. And if you don't know that, maybe I said it in the course or in my one-on-one consultation session. So, but please get it out of them in case all of this is still not clear to you, or book one of them. Anyway, let's move on. The next thing, technical example, is architecture that you built that is now used by thousands of people. That is a form of evidence. The proof that thousands of people are using it, and the proof of the architecture that you were the one that built it. Yes, that counts as something that you can use, example that you can use. Then you are a key engineer in a startup's core product. So if you are a key engineer in a startup's core product, then yes. For example, I know someone who he was a core product designer only in a startup of number of people that has large user base, and then all the designs that was done was one of the evidences that was provided to prove that. Now, next one is you shipped release that improve performance, that improve revenue, that improve the monthly user base, and then that scaled. So if you ship certain releases, whether as a product manager, as a business analyst, and all of that, you ship certain releases or based on your whatever core role that you have, that is a form of evidence. As long as you can prove it, it's important. Then strong open source, yes, strong open source contribution that is already that's acknowledged by community of developers. So if you have done that, that's also something else that you can use. And then of course GitHub with consistent commits tied to real product. This is also something, an example for technical that you can use. So if you are now going to show evidences to back all of these technical things, what are the things you will show? Architecture diagrams, of course, maximum of 3 pages, don't forget. That is showing your parts, your own parts. GitHub commits and PRs plus release notes. Before and after metrics, performance, security, scalability, and scale, and stability as well. Then internal and design doc that is clearly showing your own section as best as possible. The next thing we'll move on to is what counts as significant contribution for business people. If you are a business applicant. Yeah. So as a business applicant, what are examples of documents or evidence that you can use in your own case? Which is one of them with you influencing investment or strategy. So if your work involved you influencing investment for your organization or the strategy that help them achieve certain milestone or certain goal, and you have documented proof of that, maybe the document you created, the email conversations, the ideas that you generated, the meetings that you had, or the letter of reference, and all of that. Is, don't forget, you are not looking to have one thing to prove it, multiple things to prove one thing that you say you have done. That's very important. And the next thing is that you also, if you are someone who led major releases, like of course in the startup world where I function, we release features and updates regularly, depending on the product and of course what you are trying to serve to the users. So if you led product releases regularly, or you led product releases, that is a proof. So the whole pipeline process that led to that product release, all of that is a proof that you can use under optional criteria 3. Take note, this optional criteria, we are focusing on optional criteria 3 here. And if you don't know optional criteria 3, you're only providing 3 evidence. Whether you're a business applicant or technical applicant, you are providing 3 evidence. Again, each of the evidence should not be more than 3 pages. So this one, you are talking about product release. Well, what are the releases that you have done? You want to put all of that there. What was the result? What was the impact? What did you do? What was your section? What can you use to back up that you actually did that? And all of that. Then, of course, if you were you're one of those that is driving revenue, partnerships, and pipelines. So, for example, if you helped, man, and of course, if you're one of those people that was driving revenue, partnerships, and pipelines, then yes, is this also one evidence that you can also use under optional criteria 3. Again, you want to be deliberate about proof that you actually did those things. So if you drove revenue, you help them to achieve partnership, you help them to achieve pipeline. So for example, if your product, your company or startup partnered with a big bank or partnered with a telco, and then that resulted in large growth and all of that, the process of you doing that, you want to write about it, you want to document it, you want to show the proof of that. You probably want to get someone from that organization that you partner with to also confirm it, to also talk about, and all of that. And then you put all of that together in the evidence to show that you actually led that partnership that resulted in so and so, or you created a certain pipeline for your organization, or a certain funnel that achieved certain results for you guys. Next one is you led or you leading product direction. So if your work involved leading product direction, that's also one evidence you can use under optional criteria 3. And of course, you want to show the proof. Then next will be you founded or founding a product-led company with traction. Even though I always recommend a lot founders to use more of optional 1 than optional 3, especially if it's innovative product. But you can also use optional 3 because as a founder, you founded a product-led company that has traction. But take note, in this case, you are not focusing on your innovation. If you are using optional 3 as a founder, you are focusing on the traction, on the impact, on the metrics. Remember, when we started this video, we spoke about the fact that option 3 is about impact, about metrics. So that's what you're focusing on for optional criteria 3. That's what you chose to use. Then next would be leading growth initiatives, monthly active users, lifetime value of a user, customer acquisition, strategy or improvement that you carried out, and all of that. So all of those growth initiatives, if that's one of the things that you led actively as a product person, as a business applicant, then you can use that under optional criteria 3. Then you build critical processes that help to drive commercial results. If you did that, that's also something you can use under optional 3. So what you need to do is look at all these examples I've mentioned in optional 3. You can combine 1 or 2 of them together and use across maybe 2 companies or product that you have worked on. Even if you have worked at one product, like I always say, you can also just look at features, multiple features, and break those down and use that instead. I hope you understand that. If you don't understand that, get the course. All right. Then of course, if you are using this as a business applicant, what are now the example, or what are the evidence that you now need to show? Like I said, this is the example of document evidence that you need to use. But what are the proof that you need to add to it to confirm that, okay, I did these things? One of them will be evidence of revenue that was generated. So you cannot just say you have them to generate 1 billion. What's the proof of that revenue? Are you able to quantify it? Was there a press release to that effect when that happened? Is there a bank statement you can show? Can your what can you use to confirm that? Sales pipeline that you built and you converted, you want to add that as part of the proof as well. Then go-to-market strategies that you personally executed. So you develop one before you add it as part of it, and then that you executed, how you executed it, what was the result, and all of that. You want to show that. Then metrics and dashboard important. If don't forget option 3 is about data impact, right? Achievement. So you want to show the metrics to say that this is it. And I was applying, I said that we had I think at the time, I can't remember again, maybe it was 10,000 users or something. I know we said we had 100 schools or something. I showed the dashboard, I showed that, and showed the number of the students that we also have, as well as number of parents that we had at the time, number of teachers that we had on our product at the time, and all of that. So what else? Screenshots from like internal tools. So if you use tools like HubSpot, Salesforce, Mixpanel, and all of those kind of things, you want to show proof of that. So if you don't even have access to it, talk to engineers. Oh, most engineers use a lot of engineers use Mixpanel. Usually business guys use maybe HubSpot and the likes, or Salesforce. Look for what you guys use, and then get. In some cases, you build your dashboard internally, get the metrics that you can get from there. Then, of course, launch announcement with your name connected. So this is also one of the reasons I'm saying this. There are some of you right now that you are just building your stuff. You are just working organization, and your organization are doing some things that they are not tying to you. Find a way that when you launch announcement, your name is mentioned, whether via LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram or via the press release that was sent out, that you find a way to put your name in. Don't be humble like many of us that we are comfortable being behind the scene. Because when we now needed to do certain things that we are now looking for evidence to back it up, be deliberate, let your name be part of it so that you have proof for it. Then launch then I would say that your employer letter that is validating all of your contribution, that's also something that I can use to prove that. Let's move quickly to mistakes I think that you should avoid if you are using optional criteria 3. Mistake that I think that you should avoid. One of them is submitting evidence of your team's work instead of your personal one. Letter of reference alone. Don't just use letter of reference alone. Company level achievements with no link to you. Don't do that. Tasks that were part of your job but had no measurable results, there's no point. Then product screenshots that don't show your own involvement, don't bother. Then evidence, I would say that Alexa, stop. I would say that don't use the same evidence I use for optional 1 for optional 3. Or I would even say that if it's possible, don't use optional 1 if you're using optional 3. But it's up to you, and all of that. All right. This is getting like a long video, but let's make it. I'm sure that it's going to benefit a lot of us. So let's talk about the differences between OC1 and OC3. That's optional criteria 1 and optional criteria 3. See, these gems I'm giving you guys should be sending me money. I don't know why you guys not sending me money. Because see, this is what people pay for to share. I'm serious, and I'm not joking. Send me money. Anyway, let's go. Difference between OC1 and OC3 is that OC1 is about innovation, which is new ideas, new concept, new technology. So if you are thinking, what should I pick OC1 or should I pick OC3? If what you have is a new idea of what you have been part of, the company that you've been part of, a product that you've been part of is a new idea, is a new concept, is a new technology, then be thinking OC1. So if the things that you have contributed in that product company that you have been part of, or the product companies that you have been part of is a new idea, a new concept, new technology, then be thinking OC1. And I would say then OC3 is about impact. So it means that for OC3 it's about revenue, it's about adoption, it's about scale, it's about performance, it's about growth, it's about results. So if the things that you have done are more in that light, or you have the organization that you've been part of, you have proof of your revenue, adoption, your scale, your growth, your performance, your result, and all of that, then of course I think that maybe OC3 is a good idea for you to pick. Now let me break it a little bit down. For OC1, if your evidence cannot be measured, like you can't measure it like in one, I don't know if that's a good idea to pick. 1, 2, 3, then OC1 is a good thing to do to use. However, if your evidence cannot be explained scientifically, so you have to show data, number, and the likes, then use OC3. So look at what you have right now, what you have done. This evidence that I have, it cannot be measured, quantifiable in numbers, in data, but I can quantify it, the impact, the innovation impact of it. Then yes, use OC1. But if this thing that I have, I can measure it in data, in number, in revenue, in performance, in growth, in skills, like I mentioned, yes, then use OC3. Then I go back again. If it's OC1 again, remember it's about new idea, new concept, new technology. G. And if you have watched my video before, I've given you an example of Calendly before. So think like that, to think innovation. This is what used to be obtainable. This is what is now obtainable. This is how the game was changed. This is how number people now that now embrace it as a result of that change. You get it now? You don't get it? Forget about it. Anyway, now let's move to next thing, which is how I think that you should package your OC3 evidence properly. If you are putting this together, ask yourself this, because don't forget that it involves two parts. There's a writing part, and then there's a proof of the screenshot that you're adding part. So every piece of evidence should answer this question, these 5 questions. One is what was the problem? What was the problem? And the second is what did you personally do? Now, not what our organization did. What did you personally do? And the third is what was the measurable result? Don't forget that option 3 is about result, data, and impact. So what was the measurable result that happened as a result of what you personally now did? You get it? Then number 4 is where is the proof? And these are all the screenshot, the links, the GitHub, the document, the pipeline, all of those things that we mentioned come into play. And then the last one is who can validate it? Letters, emails, releases, and the likes. That's where you can put that in. To follow this simple 5-step process, you should have a good OC3. If you already have all your evidence correctly, you can begin to put it together. You get it? Let's go. Next one. Of course, I would say that if you are an employee, show your direct impact. If you're a founder, of course, you want to show traction and you want to show growth that has happened as a result of what you founded. Then, of course, if you're a senior executive, you want to focus on strategy and the outcome, because that's actually what your work is really about. I've said this before over and over again. If you're part of my coaching program, I have a 1-year coaching program where people who are building their evidence, some have evidence already, but they feel like it's not strong enough. They want to actually take the time next 6 months to 1 year to actually build it and become more, and then use before applying. By the way, it's a high price program, because I see some people send me when I tell them, like, hey, it's a high price program, but it's something that is worthwhile, because it combines working with you to get global talent visa and you becoming a global leader and a global influencer. So I want to say this concerning that, which is one of the things I say to them all the time, is build in public, document everything. Build in public, document everything. And I see some people make certain mistakes. I've seen 1 or 2 people take my one-on-one consultation session and I'll share some of the secrets, and then they did not opt to work with me fully, like the 1-year program, and then they just take some of those things I've shared, and then some of them even take the course and then they didn't do it. And I see people do it wrongly. And I'm going to explain, because I'm still going to explain it, not because I want to come and pay, because I want you to do it better, regardless whether you want to work with me or not. When I say build in public, document everything, it's not just writing articles online on LinkedIn. No, you are telling a story. You are bringing the audience along. You are telling a story. You are bringing the audience along. So everything that you have done, everything that you do, every little thing that you do, you magnify it as though you have just changed the world, and you present the story like that. It's actually even the way LinkedIn works. Just like saying that, oh, I just got my so and so and so and so happened now, or I just got to 1 million users, or something. Storyfy. It may be something little, but find a way. What's the story in this? How can I magnify it? How can I make it, get people in? That's what matters, not just you posting online. Please. Anyway, I would say that you shouldn't wait till the last minute. Right now, start building your evidence if you don't have it. And if you have it already, start writing it together, writing down, start documenting it, put it together and say, okay, what's the next step? How do I move on from this? If, of course, you are not sure exactly, you understand all of this, okay, but you still feel like you still need some guide, what should the template look like and all of that, then I recommend to you 2 things, depending on where you are at. Either take my one-on-one consultation session. It's not so much, depending on your capacity. It's £100 for my one-on-one consultation session. In case you don't know, the link is in bio. Yeah, it's a 1-hour session where we go dive into a lot of things that you think that you know, that you don't know. Every time I share this video, that's when you realize that a lot of people say they know certain things, and when I share, they say, "Oh, okay, thank you for this." And I'm wondering, but you told me, but you guys said you already know all of these things before. Anyway, that's that. I think you should do one-on-one consultation session, and then we're able to also dive into your personal circumstance as much as possible. But beyond that, even if you're not able to do that, take the course. Right now, the course is £500, but it's currently going for £30. So it's another thing that you can do. and you have access to the course, watch the course, go through the course, and then use it to see templates and document and all of that, and use it to start working on your application. That's even if you cannot work with someone to pay them thousands of pounds or someone like me that will charge you that amount of money. Do that. So either take a one-on-one consultation session and buy the course, or do both of them together, or do either of them. That would help you as best as possible. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.
There are people who probably watch this video or some of my videos, and you feel like you don't have all of the evidences that are required for you to get the global talent visa. Now, I am working with people who have enough time. Maybe you have 1 year or 2 years before you can apply. You want to actually build all the things that you need before you apply, become that global leader or global influencer before you apply. I want to be your coach. I want to be your guide. I want to work with you for you to achieve all of the things that you need to achieve in that space. And if this is you as well, you can also send an email to BrendanLegend@gmail.com and ask for 1 year coaching program, how to join the 1 year coaching program. Of course, you will likely also require to have the one-on-one consultation first time before we now talk about that. But I would love to work with you. If you have 1 year period or 2 year period where I can help you build all of the evidence that are required for you to become this, then I would love to work with you. I hope this is helpful to you. Please, if this is helpful, please put a message in the comment section. Let me know about it. And if you have any video you want me to record, talk about, please ask it in the comment section, and I will do well to record this video for you. Please, looking forward to see you next time. Cheers.